Okay, honey, here's how we're going to do it. First things first. We're going to smudge our feathers. We smudge the feathers in acknowledgement and blessing. It's important that you hold the feather, or any object really, and try to absorb its energy, to try to listen to it, to try to hear it. It's going to tell you what it wants to be. It's going to tell you how it wants to be, based on its characteristics, based on a lot of things. As you can see, these are two separate individual feathers. Feathers are made up of keratin. Keratin is the same thing that makes up our hair and fingernails. So when we treat these feathers, anything we do with these feathers, you have to keep that in mind. Because you wouldn't do anything to a feather you wouldn't do to your own hair and your own fingernails. I'm going to start with this one first. It doesn't need to be trimmed. It doesn't need any help at all. I've already picked black as the color that I'm going to use. All it is simply a small piece. Because we're only going to wrap the quill. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a 45. Then using just some regular glue, Elmer's, whatever, I'm going to put a small little bit right on the end of it. Just like you've seen way before many times. Oh yeah, you need to have two rags. One wet one and one dry one. So what I'm going to do is I want the back of that and normally it only takes a second or two for you to hold it on it. I'm not sure if you can see it, but the hole that I punched in that leather is right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drive that needle point through that feather. And she's going to come out the other side of it. You can see the needle going through it. very, very carefully, what we're going to do is drag that needle back through. There you have it. Can you see it? I'm gonna wrap it and go back through it twice. Back through that same hole. At least try to. I'm going to let that string lie on the last layer. You see that? That's one side of it. Now I'm going to go back through that hole. Sometimes you have to use either your table, pliers, whatever it takes to get it back through there. Sometimes and as you can see, I'm going to draw it back through the other side. Trying to let it grab onto as little feather as you can. Don't. Yep. Just want to grab onto that feather. You should be able to see the cross and the stitch. Right? The reason why that's important is because we want to make sure that it's tied down and secured. So basically all we're going to do is tie one overhead knot, real simple knot, right over left. Trim them strings. Close as you can get them. Best you could do. Sometimes you got to work that feather out of the end of it. Sometimes it's kind of a pain in the butt. Sometimes. Some little furry things, they want to be... They always want to be part of the show. Sometimes you have to trim those ends many, many times. Or whatever. There's our knotted end. And as you can see, that angle on the feather, that's where we're going to start wrapping it. We're going to cover it and go like that, as such. The best way I've ever found is you put just a little tack of glue on the end of it. Don't take much. The less you use, the cleaner it's going to be. That's why you need your wet rag. That's why you need something wet. So what we're going to do is... Oh, missed one. Sorry. You have to make sure that there's a little dab of glue. Here's what we're going to do. Go over it. And just start wrapping it real carefully. Because that deer skin is going to have differences in it, so you have to keep it kind of straight, or as best you can. There's differences in thicknesses, there's differences in width of that deerskin lace, whatever it may be. Sometimes you gotta add a little bit. Sometimes you gotta add a little bit of glue. And in this case, less is better. We're just gonna keep wrapping it. Till you almost get to the end. And the biggest part is keeping it clean with your wet rag. You want to make sure that you take care of that excess glue. Because some's going to squish out no matter how careful you are. A little bit, it's going to squish out. And we can always scooch these up. Twist them a little bit. Fill in them spots. Like I said, there's differences in the deer lace as far as the width, thickness, blah blah blah, all that kind of thing. And if you keep on turning it in the direction that you wrapped it, you can make up those differences. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm going to leave that little bit of a tail. The reason why is I have to split the end of that leather, because I'm going to place a bead over the end of the feather and the leather, so they come together, right? So, and then go, oi, got my finger. There you have it. There you have it. The reason why I did that, the reason why that's there is so I can thread that bead over the leather and then over the end of that quill. And then I'm going to secure that bead to the end of the quill. It's not hard. It just takes a little bit of patience. I wanted to use black beads. I don't know why, I just wanted black on black for this instance. So what I did was, I picked out a bead with as large a diameter hole as I could possibly get. You know, sometimes you have big ones, sometimes you have small ones, whatever. Roll the end of your leather. Try to pick the best side of the bead up. See, I'm almost ready to put it on the end of that quill. Almost. Almost. Just a little tiny dab of glue. Don't take much. The least amount you use is the least amount you're going to have to try to clean up. So what we're going to do is we're going to come around and feed it onto it. And I'm going to twist it in the direction of the roll as best I can. You can just keep going around until you get to the end. I'm not sure if you can see that. So there you have it. Now our feather is wrapped. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it sit for a while, let it rest, and come back to it in a minute. And that's when we're going to start decorating it, embellishing it. And this one, I'm going to do some quill painting and probably leave this tail. I'm kind of liking that tail a little bit. Kind of liking it. So I'm going to leave that. Sometimes you just have to go with the feel of your hands and not think so much about it. But you can look at it. That's what it took to do it. That's the first one, honey.